Ukraine is witnessing a series of historic events. While countless captivating stories have left their mark since the beginning of the war, this one stands out as truly unique. Since the onset of the conflict, Russia has occupied Ukrainian territories, sowing vast areas with mines. These explosives were intended not only to trap Ukrainian forces and halt their advances, but also to slow down retreating units attempting to regroup behind the front lines. Amid this hazardous environment, a Ukrainian farmer accomplished what seemed impossible. Single-handedly, he found a way to outsmart the Russian army's deadly game and began clearing the mines one by one. But how could a farmer possibly achieve such an extraordinary feat? Let's dive into this incredible story. In May 2023, the UK newspaper, The Sun, published a peculiar video on its YouTube channel. At first glance, the footage seemed harmless, if not slightly odd. It featured a man perched inside the bucket of an excavator, elevated high off the ground. Was he a lookout? The purpose was unclear, but the image hinted at an extraordinary ingenuity born from necessity. Everyday Ukrainians were devising creative solutions to tackle the perilous landmine problem that plagued their fields. The scene then shifted to a massive mechanical plow moving methodically across a field. But this wasn't an ordinary plow at work. A closer look inside the cabin revealed the surprising truth. It was unmanned. Ingeniously rigged, the plow was designed to drive in a straight line without any human operator. The innovation wasn't just bizarre, it was purposeful, an ingenious response to an otherwise deadly challenge. As the video unfolds, we meet a Ukrainian farmer who recounts a harrowing yet enlightening experience. Speaking to The Sun, he describes how one of his tractors struck an anti-tank mine while working in a field. The explosion was powerful enough to destroy the vehicle's protective plates and damage much of its mechanics. Yet, to his astonishment, the tractor itself remained intact, and, most importantly, its operators were unharmed. Everyone's alive and safe, the farmer explains, and the vehicle was quickly repaired and sent back into the dangerous minefield. But this incident sparked an idea. The footage then shifts back to the earlier plow, only to reveal that it's not a plow at all. Instead, it's a tractor, ingeniously modified for a life-saving mission. With makeshift armor attached to the front, the rigged tractor is seen roaming the field, deliberately searching for mines. The farmer had equipped the front of the vehicle with a solid metal barricade, elevated slightly on rollers to maintain mobility. Meanwhile, wooden beams, likely improvised shields, are stacked and fastened along the sides, designed to absorb or deflect the force of any hidden explosives. The result? A seemingly ordinary tractor transformed into a frontline warrior in the battle against landmines. Innovation born of necessity, a farmer's ingenious minesweeping system. The video concludes with a return to the excavator seen earlier. The man remains in position, calmly operating the tractor from a safe distance. Inside the excavator's elevated bucket, he has set up a small table and chair, giving him a commanding view of the field as he controls the tractor's movements via a makeshift mechanism. The tractor continues its mine-sweeping mission, scouring the ground for hidden dangers, while the man skillfully guides its path from above. The footage cuts back to the farmer, who explains the driving force behind his ingenuity. The fields need to be sown. Time is of the essence, but the threat of landmines has halted his work. The emergency services are very busy, he says, acknowledging the immense strain on resources in Ukraine amidst the ongoing war. But waiting indefinitely for assistance wasn't an option. Inspired by the realization that his tractors could survive anti-tank explosions, he took matters into his own hands. With determination and resourcefulness, he crafted a unique solution, turning a moment of crisis into an opportunity to reclaim his land and restore hope to his community. We salvaged the front metal parts from a destroyed Russian tank at the crossroads, the farmer reveals, proudly detailing his resourceful creation. These salvaged tank components serve as the backbone of the tractor's defenses. The footage shifts to the farmer, now seen standing beside the vehicle, holding a remote control. With this simple yet effective setup, he has essentially transformed his tractor into an unmanned ground vehicle, UGV, demonstrating a level of ingenuity that perfectly embodies the resilient spirit of Ukrainians. The scene changes to another man, highlighting the sheer magnitude of the demining challenge Ukraine's farmers face. The land that needs demoning is vast, he says solemnly. It would take years to clear this field by hand and ensure no mines remain. The footage then returns to the wireless tractor in action. This tractor is a fantastic solution, the man continues, emphasizing the benefits of an unmanned system. By eliminating the risk to human life, the farmer's invention not only speeds up the process, but also provides a critical safety net. This approach is particularly effective against anti-tank mines, which are designed to detonate only under substantial weight. Unlike manual clearing methods that can sometimes miss these hidden dangers, the tractor's weight guarantees detonation, ensuring the land is truly safe for use. This remarkable innovation demonstrates the power of human ingenuity in even the most dire circumstances, offering a glimpse of hope and progress in the shadow of war. In the Sun's report, we meet another farmer who underscores the massive scale of the demining crisis. He reveals that he is working in Kharkiv, a region that has been relentlessly bombarded by Russia since at least May 2024. This, despite Russian President Vladimir Putin's earlier claims of having no interest in the area. That same month, reports from The Guardian detailed how between 5,000 and 10,000 Russian soldiers crossed the border into Kharkiv through two key points, plunging the region into chaos. The situation has only worsened. Russian artillery rains down daily, and an endless flow of reinforcements keeps pouring in. But it's not just the soldiers and shells wreaking havoc. The land is being littered with deadly Russian landmines, a deliberate strategy to cripple Ukraine's agricultural backbone. I've removed around 500 anti-tank mines and countless anti-personnel mines from this field, claims the farmer, a testament to the Herculean task Ukrainian farmers now face. This tactic isn't just a military obstacle, it's an economic weapon. Agriculture, which accounted for 8.2% of Ukraine's GDP in 2022, according to Statista, has been severely disrupted. Russia's systematic mining of farmland threatens to push these numbers even lower, choking Ukraine's economy at its roots and turning fertile fields into dangerous wastelands. The fight for Kharkiv isn't just about land, it's about survival, resilience, and a nation's ability to sustain itself amid unrelenting aggression. The video concludes with the sight of the modified tractor maneuvering through the devastated landscapes of Kharkiv. Shattered buildings dot the horizon, stark reminders that Alexander Kristov's ingenious solution to the mine problem isn't just a story of innovation, it's a story of survival in the face of constant danger. Despite the novelty of his unmanned tractor, Kristov operates in a war-torn region, where each day brings the looming threat of renewed Russian attacks. According to Reuters, Kristov, identified as the general manager of his own agricultural company, resides in Hrakove. This village fell under Russian occupation during the early months of the invasion, but was liberated following a successful Ukrainian counteroffensive. The victory allowed Kristov to return to his work, though under extraordinarily challenging circumstances. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal highlights the broader crisis. An estimated 30% of Ukraine's territory has been mined by Russia. The government is working tirelessly to demine critical areas, especially agricultural land, to revive an essential sector of Ukraine's economy. However, the scale of the challenge is overwhelming. Farmers across the country face the same perilous conditions as Kristov, illustrating the uphill battle Ukraine must fight to reclaim its land, not just for survival, but to secure its future. In June 2023, The Guardian shed light on the harrowing plight of Ukrainian farmers, who have become frontline soldiers in their own battle against Russia's war tactics. From the start of the conflict, farmland has been a clear and deliberate target for destruction. One haunting example comes from the Huzarivka dairy farm, where Russian forces wreaked havoc during their occupation. In just weeks, 2,500 heads of cattle were slaughtered, not for food, but as victims of artillery fire and even target practice. Serhiy Vorobyov, the farm's deputy manager, recalls a scene of unimaginable devastation. The cattle that weren't outright killed were left to starve, abandoned by farmers forced to flee. In their desperation, some cows began eating their own tails. They are just like soldiers who've been on the front line. Vorobyov says somberly, they are scared if you just go near them. When Ukrainian forces eventually liberated the farm, they uncovered a nightmarish sight, cow carcasses stretching endlessly across the landscape. Even in freedom, Vorobyov's challenges are far from over. With land riddled with mines, his surviving 230 cows can't safely graze. Each step on the pasture could trigger a deadly explosion. Worse still, the farm's infrastructure has been decimated, leaving Vorobyov uncertain if his once thriving farm will ever recover. It's a grim reality shared by countless farmers across Ukraine, a relentless fight to reclaim not just their land, but their livelihoods. When we mentioned earlier that the threat of Russia's landmines is often underestimated, this is exactly what we meant. On the surface, the use of mines in warfare seems standard, designed to repel advancing soldiers, tanks, and vehicles attacking fortified positions. In a war of this scale, such tactics are almost expected. But Russia has taken this a step further, deploying mines not just as a military defense, but as a weapon of terror against Ukrainian civilians. By sowing farmland with deadly explosives, Moscow ensures that the threat lingers long after its forces have been pushed out of occupied areas. The consequences are devastating. Ukraine's agricultural industry, vital to its economy, is being systematically targeted and ruined. Civilians attempting to return to their homes and livelihoods face the deadly risk of triggering these hidden dangers. Their crime? Simply wanting to rebuild their lives on the land that once belonged to them. It's a chilling reminder of how Russia's strategy extends beyond the battlefield to crush Ukraine's spirit and future. All of this leads us to a vital question. How exactly is Russia using landmines to harm Ukraine on such a massive scale? As we've seen, the attacks on farmland aren't incidental. They're deliberate, calculated moves in a broader strategy. According to the Halo Trust, an organization specializing in clearing landmines and explosives from post-conflict zones, this tactic is devastatingly effective. Mike Newton, the head of region in Europe for the Halo Trust, describes the situation in stark terms. A large part of Ukraine's economy has collapsed. Agriculture, historically one of the world's largest breadbaskets and making up 8.2% of Ukraine's GDP before the war, has been crippled by bombs, artillery shells, and landmines. Rebuilding the nation requires clearing these deadly remnants, but the challenge is monumental. The Halo Trust estimates that as many as 2 million landmines are scattered across Ukraine. Despite the tireless work of their highly trained deminers, only 19,000 have been cleared so far. Their focus has been on urban areas, targeting schoolyards, housing estates, and pathways, but the enormity of the task ahead, particularly in Ukraine's vast agricultural lands, remains daunting. This is no accident. It's a grim reminder of how Russia weaponizes landmines to target Ukraine's future, long after the fighting has moved on. The mention of schoolyards as demining sites should send chills down your spine. These aren't just battlefields. They're places meant for children, now littered with death traps. Human Rights Watch, HRW, paints an even grimmer picture. In June 2023, HRW published a detailed report on the use of landmines in Ukraine, shedding light on how both sides are navigating and violating the rules of warfare. Under the 1997 Mine Ban Treaty, the use of anti-personnel mines, devices designed to kill or maim individuals, is strictly prohibited. But Russia, which never signed the treaty, has flagrantly ignored this ban. According to HRW, Russia has deployed at least 13 types of anti-personnel mines across Ukraine since the invasion began. Adding to the danger, it has also planted at least 6 types of anti-vehicle mines and crafted improvised booby traps in areas it fortified before retreating. Ukraine, a signatory to the treaty, hasn't remained entirely innocent either. HRW confirms that Ukrainian forces have used rocket launchers to deploy PFM anti-personnel blast mines, effectively resorting to the same tactics as their enemy. While anti-vehicle mines are permitted under the treaty, the widespread and indiscriminate use of these explosive devices, particularly in civilian areas, has transformed Ukraine's land into a deadly chessboard where every step could be the last. Russia's use of landmines has taken a horrifying turn. The majority of anti-personnel mines deployed by its forces, such as the PFM-1, PMN-2, and PMN-4, are blast mines designed to maim or kill with precision. These devices activate under pressure, indiscriminately targeting civilians and soldiers alike. But as Ukraine's resistance holds firm, Russia's tactics have only grown more desperate and inhumane. In February 2024, NBC News highlighted a chilling development: Russia's introduction of the PAM-3, a deadly new type of anti-personnel mine. Unlike traditional mines, the PAM-3 uses seismic sensors to detect ground vibrations, whether from marching soldiers, moving vehicles, or farmers tilling their fields. This smart mine explodes preemptively, launching a can-sized explosive into the air that scatters metal fragments over a wide radius. The PAM-3's design makes it nearly impossible to safely detect or disarm, turning ordinary activities like farming into life-threatening gambles. This weapon isn't just about tactical advantage, it's a psychological assault intended to instill fear and disrupt the livelihoods of Ukrainians long after the battlefield moves on. Such cruelty underscores Putin's desperation, as his so-called special military operation faces unyielding Ukrainian defiance. Landmines have long plagued Ukraine, even before the onset of Russia's special military operation. Between 2014 and 2020, following Russia's annexation of Crimea, Ukraine faced 1,190 landmine-related casualties, averaging around 170 annually. Since February 2022, however, the devastation has reached new heights. From the start of the full-scale invasion through July 2023, 298 civilians fell victim to landmines, 22 of whom were children. Beyond this, 632 civilians were injured, a figure that doesn't account for countless Ukrainian soldiers, or victims of Russia's improvised booby traps. And those numbers, they're just the reported cases. The Halo Trust warns that civilian casualties are likely underreported, potentially leaving hundreds more Ukrainians unaccounted for. Statistics from Statista provide grim context. Between April and December 2014, landmines killed 40 civilians and injured another 40. In 2015, after Crimea's annexation, the numbers surged to 123 deaths and 240 injuries. This alarming trend continued into 2016 and 2017, with 122 fatalities and 361 injuries recorded. While casualties tapered off slightly between 2018 and 2021, Ukraine still reported dozens of deaths annually. Then came 2022, when landmine casualties skyrocketed again, 223 deaths and 374 injuries. 2023 mirrored this grim trajectory, with 116 deaths and 383 injuries. These numbers only scratch the surface of the crisis. Civilians and soldiers alike face the hidden dangers of Russian mines every day. The unreported casualties and scale of devastation reveal a silent but brutal war tactic aimed at sowing terror and crippling Ukraine's ability to rebuild. Alexander Kristov's remote-controlled tractor is no longer just an inspiring tale. It's a lifeline in the battle against the landmines littering Ukraine's farmlands. This innovation is a personal war waged by one farmer to safeguard his workers and reclaim his fields. But let's be realistic. The idea of entire fleets of remote-controlled tractors scouring Ukraine's countryside isn't feasible. The ingenuity and resources required, like the fortunate acquisition of a destroyed Russian tank, make Kristov's solution a unique case, not a scalable model. So what's next for Ukraine in its fight against landmines? While Kristov's armored tractor has its place, the nation is employing a range of far more advanced and scalable methods. These technological innovations aim to address the monumental challenge of clearing mines more effectively and efficiently, offering hope for a future where farmers can safely return to their livelihoods without fear of hidden explosives beneath their feet. Let's explore what these methods are. Ukraine is tackling Russia's landmine onslaught with a mix of advanced technology and grassroots creativity. Metal detectors, while still the most common tool, are evolving into autonomous robots to make demining safer. Tim Bechtel and NATO scientists are leading this innovation, but it's not enough to cover Ukraine's vast, mine-laden territory. Enter young Ukrainian innovators like Igor Klimenko, whose drone-based mine detector offers a game-changing solution. His quadcopter mines detector uses a suspended metal detector to locate mines and send precise coordinates, an inspiring blend of youth and ingenuity in the face of adversity. Ukraine is also fielding mine-clearing monsters, like the American M1150 and Germany's Weisnet-1. These heavy machines plow or flail the ground to uproot mines, but face challenges like bulkiness and limited clearance rates. In a tactical twist, Ukrainian soldiers are relaying mines in fields cleared by Russia, creating deadly traps that disrupt Russian advances. Yet, this strategy exacerbates the landmine crisis. From AI to armored tractors, Ukraine's solutions highlight resilience in wartime. Citizens like Oleksandr Kristov embody this spirit, using repurposed tanks and tractors to reclaim their fields. These efforts, combined with international support, show a nation united against a devastating threat. What's your take on these mine detection strategies? Can ingenuity alone overcome the widespread use of landmines? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.